probably one of the greatest comebacks that we've seen in a while. The Cincinnati Bengals had the upset of the playoffs, beating the mighty Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium for the chance to play to the Super Bowl. The Bengals down 21-3 come roaring back and winning in overtime 27-24. And really, to me, the main takeaways, I'm just going to be breaking it down for you guys, my key reactions and analysis. But I think that Bengals defense honestly just really came to play. They were so underrated in these playoffs, and they've just been balling. They've only allowed 3 points in the second half and overtime of that game on Sunday in the AFC Championship. And the Bengals really switched up the game plan that you typically see against Mahomes. They played single high safety. They got a bit more aggressive because, you know, teams normally started to use the 2 high safeties to really prevent the deep plays against Kansas City, but they got more aggressive and it worked. I mean, Mahomes was under pressure. He had 0 sacks in the first half, and then here comes the Cincinnati pass rush, and they have 4 sacks in the second half of the game. Sam Hubbard, the linebacker, had 2 sacks. Trey Hendrickson had 1.5, and the defense really was what allowed the Cincinnati Bengals back into this game down 21-3. I don't know, as much as everybody's talking about Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, you know, all that Joey franchise and stuff, but yeah, he was calm, he was amazing, he made some big plays, but really, the Chiefs, they had 7 chances, honestly, to put this game away, and they didn't do anything with those chances. To start the second half, they went 5 plays, 18 yards, punt, up 21-10, and then they got the ball again, up 21-10, went 5 plays, 17 yards, punt, and then up 21-13, they went 2 plays, 7 yards, interception, that changed everything, and then after the Burrow interception at the KC 47-yard line, the Chiefs went 3 plays, -2 yards, punt in a tie game. And then the final drive, where the Chiefs really should have put that game away, and they never did that, unfortunately for them. Too many punts, too many interceptions. It just didn't work. They didn't deserve it at all to win this game. The Chiefs defense really, to me, wasn't necessarily at fault for losing this game. I think it's entirely on Patrick Mahomes and the offense. You know, to me, Joe Mixon was probably the biggest, he came through in the biggest moment for the Cincinnati Bengals. He had 32 rushing yards out of the 42 on that final drive of the game that set up Evan McPherson, the Bengals' amazing kicker, for another game winner at 31 yards for the Super Bowl. And this time the overtime rules worked. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals defense, they got that interception of Mahomes at the Cincinnati 45-yard line. But to me, BJ Hill had that interception of Patrick Mahomes that really changed it. It was really the biggest turning point of the game for me. That interception of Mahomes to bring the Bengals to the KC 27-yard line for a chance to really tie up this game. And, you know, out of the 12 plays where the Chiefs had the lead in the second half, only 5 of those plays did they decide to run the ball, which is really concerning to me. Andy Reid really needs to start running the ball a little bit more, try and be a little bit more physical, because you can't just keep passing the ball all the time. At some point when you have the lead, it's time to run the clock, grind the football by running it, and they just weren't able to do that, and that's really unfortunate for the Chiefs. And you know, on that last drive, I mean, the Chiefs are just horrible, and they just didn't do it at all. They went 14 plays, 49 yards in 6 minutes, and they literally had a 2nd and goal at the Cincinnati 2-yard line, but back-to-back sacks by the Bengals, plus a nearly lost fumble on 3rd and goal, lost 20 yards combined on both of those sacks, and Mahomes just didn't pull the trigger. In overtime, and they received the coin toss. I mean, you won the coin toss. You received the ball. You're going to win this game if you go down the field and score a touchdown. But no, the Chiefs go 3 plays, 0 yards, ending up in an interception. And it was just bad. And to me, a couple of key guys, really important wide receivers now. T. Higgins was huge at 6 catches for 103 yards. Big catches to set him up for a field goal. And then Jamar Chase reeled in the only TD of the second half for either team at the goal line fade. So it was really an impressive performance from a lot of players on the Bengals chipping in. And, you know, to me, really the biggest takeaway was a self-breakdown the self-destruction of Patrick Mahomes in this game. He just looked honestly scared to throw the ball. I think what happened was that he was really embarrassed right after that mistake before the half, where he didn't want to make that kind of another mistake that looked really embarrassed, and it cost him. I mean, it was 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line with 5 seconds left before the half. They went 7 plays, 80 yards in a minute and 5 seconds, but that all got wasted. On 2nd and goal at the 1, he threw it to Tyreek Hill, who was inbounds, and then 2 people tackled Hill inbounds, and the clock expired. Mahomes tried to call a timeout, even though it wasn't there. Don't know really what was going on. The communication wasn't there properly as well. He thought he had a timeout, so that's why he went to Hill inbounds, and they just didn't understand that the tackle inbounds just ends the half. And then once that happened, he was just a different quarterback. I mean, he looked hesitant. He had both Travis Kelce and Byron Pringle open on 3rd and goal, with the game on the line, with the potential to win the game, down 24-21 with under a minute to go. He had both Travis Kelce and Byron Pringle open and didn't go to them. He just kept running around. I think he really wanted to make sure that it wasn't a pick, because he knew they had a field goal in the back pocket and really didn't want to take any risk with that. But, normally what I've seen from Patrick Mahomes is that he trusts himself and he throws it. I mean, he's done it before. He's thrown in tighter windows before, but he messed up big time. And this is really the first time I've ever seen him look like this. In overtime, on 3rd and 10, he just looked desperate because, he knew it was the last chance. Otherwise, Joe Burrow would go down and win the game, which is exactly what happened. And they should have just really ran the ball more with Jerick McKinnon, who was averaging about 5 yards a carry. But Andy Reid really just getting in his own way. And on 2nd and goal, with under a minute to go, in regulation, they should have ran the ball. But again, I understand you wanted to have Patrick Mahomes have that ball. He's your best playmaker, right? So you want him to have that ball. But I just really think he was trying to be too perfect after that. Really a bad mistake to end the first half. And there were some dropped catches by Kelce and some other receivers, so I think that played a part. But overall, in the second half, Patrick Mahomes threw for 55 yards and 2 interceptions, compared to the first half where he had 225 yards, 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And really, what Mahomes said after the play, right before the halftime, was that he said he got greedy on that play, trying to score a TD. Really, the play for him was to throw the ball away. He knew that, but he said he got greedy. And it was just a complete breakdown from Mahomes. Don't know what happened at all. Just so unlike him. Really, really surprising to see. But talking about Joe Burrow now. Joe, he played amazing. He had that bad interception in the 4th quarter. In a tie game, 21-21. But he came up clutch on big runs. He had big quarterback scrambles in a tie game. But to me, that defense really got them in position to tie it. Consistent stops on the Chiefs' offense. That interception by B.J. Hill at the Kansas City 27-yard line that allowed that short touchdown to tie up the game. And 2 moments in the game really stood out to me for Joe Burrow. On 3rd and 6 at the Cincinnati 24, he broke a few tackles and scrambled for 7 yards on 3rd and 6 to convert it. And then on 3rd and 7 at the Cincinnati 34, he scrambles for 11 yards breaking tackles. He was just looking like Patrick Mahomes out there. That's really what was going on. And they had a great drive to take that field goal, 24-21, take the lead with 11 plays, 46 yards in 6 minutes. And to me, really the biggest drive for the Bengals offense was that when they were down 21-3 at the half, the Bengals had, a quick touchdown, 41 yards catch and run by Samaje Perine to make it 21-10 with 1:05 left. And that gave them some momentum because the Chiefs didn't score. The Chiefs didn't score after that for almost the entire game. And otherwise it would have been 21-3 at half. But Joe Burrow was really calm. He was cool, collected. He led them great. And really the game is never out of reach of Joe Burrow, who was 60% for 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Huge win for the Bengals. They are headed to the Super Bowl. I cannot believe I'm saying that. I cannot believe they're in the Super Bowl right now, honestly. And now the NFC Championship. The Rams, they're headed to Super Bowl 56. They'll play in their home stadium, SoFi Stadium. And the year that they traded for Matthew Stafford, they went all in. They signed Odell Beckham. They traded for Jalen Ramsey. They made it to the big game by beating their arch rivals in the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers, 20-17 in the 4th quarter comeback, down 17-7 late in the 4th. It once again came down to that last drive, and I predicted the Rams would get a game-winning stop, which is exactly what happened on the defensive side of the ball. Down 20-17 for the 49ers, 3rd and 13 at their own 22 with 1:09 left. Jimmy G gets under strong pressure and just flips out a desperate pass that is tipped and intercepted by Trevin Howard for the win. And Aaron Donald, arguably the best player in the NFL, made the game-winning difference. He forced pressure, collapsed the pocket, just like you do against Tom Brady, and he sends the Rams to a home Super Bowl. Even though the Rams didn't have no sacks the entire game, but when they needed to, that front four came home and they did it. An amazing comeback. This defense shut down Elijah Mitchell, the 49ers running back, for 50 yards, and Jimmy G was 53% for 230 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. And one of his touchdowns was literally a screen pass to Debo, and Debo had 98 yards for 1 touchdown. And really, once the Niners had the lead 17-7, it was another collapse by Kyle Shanahan and the offense, where they went 6 plays, 36 yards punt, 3 plays minus 5 yards punt, and then 3 plays minus 3 yards interception, and game losing all in the second half. So that just sucks for them. Another epic collapse where the offense just failed to sustain much. And to me, the big takeaway was I was just so happy for Matthew Stafford. After 13 years, he's headed to the Super Bowl. It's just so great to see. His first year in LA was such a major success, and he played pretty well. Wasn't scared at all, just slinging it around. Super fun to watch, and it was really... he led probably the best drive I've ever seen in my entire life, where the Rams went 18 plays and 97 yards in 9.5 minutes, resulted in a touchdown where they threw 5 passes and ran 9 times. That was just probably the greatest drive I've ever seen, almost. It was insane. And, Stafford, to be honest, he almost cost the Rams when they were down 17-14 with the ball at their own 15-yard line. He throws deep, intended for Van Jefferson, but it was way off. And it was probably the easiest pick by Jaquiski Tartt that was dropped, and the 49ers would have had outstanding field position, and they possibly could have scored a touchdown to make it 24-14. But again, missed opportunities always come back to haunt you, especially in the playoffs, and that's what happened again. The Rams, eventually they went 9 plays, 63 yards in 3 minutes to tie it on a 40-yard field goal. 49ers get it back, but they go 3 plays, -5 yards in 23 seconds and punt. And then the Rams have it back with 6.5 minutes to go. Stafford leaves them beautifully. 10 plays, 50 yards in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Had a big pass to Cooper Kupp on 3rd and 3 at the 49ers 37 with 3 minutes, 30 seconds to go. And that was good for 25 yards. And the Rams eventually kicked a 30-yard field goal that was game-winning eventually. Taking a look at Stafford's numbers, he was 70% for 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick that was tipped at the line. So, to me, Stafford's been amazing in the playoffs. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. And the stars came out for Los Angeles when they had to. Cooper Kupp had an amazing game, caught both touchdown passes for the Rams. Had 11 catches for 142 yards as well. And Odell Beckham Jr., I talked about him. He's a brilliant get for this Rams team. And he gives Cooper Kupp a better chance because he goes one-on-one. And Odell Beckham had the best game in a long time. 9 catches for 113 yards. And also, shout out to Kendall Blanton. He was amazing. He stepped up without Tyler Higbee, who had 5 catches for 57 yards. I mean, that's really good for a backup tight end. I think Kendall Blanton might be somebody who could step up in the Super Bowl if Tyler Higbee does not play. But down 17-7 in the 4th quarter, the Rams offense was alive and they came up big. Stafford played well, but honestly, a missed field goal and an early interception and turnover on downs just really made it more difficult for the Rams and kind of delayed the inevitable to me. And, I just think that the Rams offense, they generally played well the whole game, just a couple of errors here and there. But they were able to get the win. I thought they were a better team, and that's what happened. They came through. So, Super Bowl is Bengals versus Rams. Cannot believe I'm saying even Bengals in a sentence. But, yeah, here it is, guys. Rams house versus Houday. We're going to see who comes out on top. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, hope you guys enjoyed my reaction. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and comment in the comment section what your thoughts were on the Bengals winning. And I'll see you in the next video.